to St James's School assemblies on a Wednesday with Helen. It is really lovely to have this chance to spend some time with you via video, but hopefully soon I'll be in the building itself. First of all, a few little questions, a mini quiz. I've got some questions I want you to answer. Question number 1. How are you? Question number 2. What is the strangest thing about being back at school? Question number 3. Maths or English? Question number 4. What's the best thing about being back at school? Question number 5. What have you missed the most? Yeah, so is it good to be back at school? Are you really glad to see your friends again, to have playtime again, to do some work again, to see your teachers again? It's good to do some of these things that are a little bit more normal, even though things are very different. And as you can see, things are getting back to normal a little bit at church because I'm in the building and I'm working in the office. I'm really pleased to say. And next week, next Tuesday, the 15th of September, Rocking is back. So if you're in year 2 or year 6 or year 3, year 4 or year 5, come along to Rocking at 6 o'clock next Tuesday. Now it's time for an assembly. And with Mrs. Patterson and in your class, you have been thinking about heroes, about giants of faith. So I thought that on a Wednesday, I'd think about some of the qualities, the personality traits of these giants of faith for one good reason only, so that you and me, we can become giants of faith too. Who'd like to be a giant? I'd like to be a giant. Oh, that's going to take something, isn't it, for Helen to become a giant? She's going to have to grow a lot, isn't she? Yes. Well, we're going to think about how we can be giants of faith. So today, we're going to learn something from Esther. You've been hearing about Esther. And Esther was an amazing person. First, I need to tell you a little something, that the story of Esther is the story of an ordinary teenage girl in an extraordinary situation. A bit like us, really. We've been in an extraordinary situation, and how Esther had to show extraordinary courage, like we sometimes have to show. Esther had to be rooted in her identity as a person loved by God. She had to remember that she was God's friend, God's teenage girl, God's queen. She had to remember she was loved by God, and she had to step into the courage that God gave her for doing the brave thing that she did. And we can do that too. We can remember we're loved. We can step into the courage that God has there, mighty God has there to give us, to help us serve him. Esther would have heard some Bible verses. She'd have heard this Bible verse: "Be strong and courageous, for you, mighty God, is with you wherever you go, whatever you do, and will never leave you." And she would have remembered that. And we can do that too. You can remember that, and I can remember it. God is with us. And here is an experiment that you can try later to help you see this, to help you think about this some more. For this experiment, you will need some sharpened pencils. You will need a bag of water with a Ziploc seal on it. Okay, that's what you need. The sharp pencil these are the things that you need courage for. They're the things that you might be frightened of, worried about, or anxious. What worries you? What scares you? What do you need courage for at the moment? Okay. What will happen if I poke this bag of water with a sharp pencil? Will it leak? Let's find out, shall we? It's not leaking. The pencil's gone straight through. Let's try again. Another worry, something else I need courage for. Through, out the other side. Look at that. Goodness me. It hasn't leaked. There's no leakage whatsoever. The pencil is like the thing we're scared of. When we poke the pencil through, there's no leakage. The bag seals around it. And with our fears, if we ask God to help us, his love seals and stops our strength leaking out when we're scared. His love seals and helps and guides and guards us. His love seals us and his courage fills us to face the things that are hard. We can pray to God to give us courage. We can pray to God to help us so that when the fears poke us, there's a seal. God makes a seal and stops our strength leaving us, that fills us with his might. His love makes a seal and makes us brave and courageous, rather than all our strength running away. So, just like Esther was a giant of faith because of her courage, we can be giants of faith by asking God to help us when our fears make us wobble and weak. It's a bit like putting armour on. But the armour is Jesus' armour, a Jesus helmet, a godly breastplate, a Jesus shield, a sword of the Spirit. If we put our armour on, it says in the Bible, finally be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on your God suit, put your God armour on, and it helps protect you from those fears. It helps protect you and give you courage. You can use those Bible stories and Bible verses that you know and things you've learnt in assembly to fight off fears and to remind you God is with you. You can put this on to say, go away, I know God's with me. You can put the helmet on to protect your thinking, to say, no, God is with me, God cares about me, God protects me. He will help me and stop all my courage leaking away. He will fill me with his courage and seal it in and put a breastplate to keep me safe as he seals my courage into my heart and my body. So, helmet off. We're going to finish by praying. But today, we're going to pray in a different way. You can pray by putting your hands together and closing your eyes. You can pray by doing this, but sometimes you can pray by writing things down. You might want to stop the video at this point and go and get a piece of paper and something to write with. Okay? Now, this is what you have to do. Ready? Get a piece of paper and write the first letter of your name in bubble writing. I've done a H because my name's Helen. Okay, in the letter of your name, you're going to write down your fears, your anxieties, your worries. You're going to write down the things that you need courage for. Okay? Perhaps you could do it now. Write down the things that you need courage for. Things you need God's mighty power to help you with. Write them down. And as you write them down, that is your prayer. You are asking God to help you, for his mighty courage to fill you and be with you. When you've finished writing them down, fold it up. Perhaps just say, come and help me. Make me brave. Put it somewhere safe. Now, if you are someone who doesn't have anything worrying you at the moment, you don't feel like you need courage at the moment, why don't you write somebody else's initial, somebody else's letter down and write down the things they need courage with and pray for them? That's all for today. Our assembly is over. All I've got left to say is go and be a giant of faith, just like Esther. I hope I see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.